Good morning. We have a lot to get into today, so let's start off with the good news. Cadence Jane Robert was found on Friday, July 25th. There's no further information from law enforcement. Erica McCarver Anderson was also found safe in late July. Keshaun Williams is still missing. He's the only person listed on the front page with an active Amber Alert. He is still missing on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's update list. I find this puzzling. We'll talk about that in a minute. On Wednesday, August 9th, a Cuyahoga news outlet reported an update, but there was nothing that we don't already know. That Keshaun went missing from a house party in his neighborhood. They believe he has been abducted, but the update really didn't tell us anything further. If you saw Keshaun on the night of June 17th or have any information about his whereabouts, call Cuyahoga Police. And their number is 216-623-5418. Next up are Tamara and Iris Perez, 15 and 13, sisters, missing out of Roscommon County, Michigan. And I have two new pictures for you. The first is Tamara Perez. She's 15, 5'3" tall, 120 pounds. She was last seen wearing a green Boynton t-shirt and jeans. She's African American with braids on both sides of her head, caught in a bun at the back. Her sister Iris is 13, 5 foot tall, 150 pounds. She's mixed race with curly hair. She was last seen wearing a black t-shirt with an American flag set inside of red lips, green fleece pajamas with moons and stars on them. One of my subscribers tipped me off that there was an update, and I'm going to do a cold read for you now. And let me just add before I start that the wording, especially from Officer Ackley, is a little confusing, and so I try and read it as carefully as possible. From 10news.com, and the headline reads, FBI releases more information on sisters kidnapped out of Roscommon County, Michigan. Now, it's interesting they use the word kidnapped because nobody has used that yet, and there is still no Amber Alert. Updated 8/8/23 at 12:20 p.m. The FBI has released more information about missing sisters Iris and Tamara Perez from Roscommon County, Michigan. They say the sisters lived in Florida with their adoptive parents until March of 2023, when they were found living with their biological mom in Florida. The girls were moved to Florida. They have connections in Port St. Lucie and Lake Worth, Florida, Winchester, Tennessee, and Houghton Lake, Michigan. If you have any information regarding these girls, please contact the Roscommon County Sheriff's Office at 989-275-5101. And then from the 29th of June, the Roscommon County Sheriff's Office said, the information is limited and it's early in the investigation, but they are tracking down a few leads. Quote, the kids saw there was a witness that saw the kids leaving in an SUV, close quote, Lieutenant Angela Ackley with Roscommon County Sheriff's Office Investigative Services said. Deputies say that 15-year-old Tamara Perez and 13-year-old Iris Perez were reported missing between 7:30 and 8 p.m. Wednesday night. They were seen leaving in an SUV, but they don't know who they might have left with. Quote, There has been no contact since they were last seen last night, close quote, Ackley said. Tamara was last seen wearing a green Boynton t-shirt and blue jeans. She's 5'3", 120 pounds. She's African American with braids on the sides of her head and caught in a bun in the back. She also has a tattoo of a star in black ink with red in the middle on her neck. Iris was last seen wearing a black t-shirt with an American flag set inside of red lips, green fleece pajamas with moons and stars on them. She is mixed race with smooth curly hair. She is 5 feet tall and 150 pounds. The sheriff's office is also looking for a newer white Jeep Cherokee that they say witnesses saw in the area at the time of the kidnapping. Quote, "We believe the Jeep Cherokee that was found on the surveillance video is involved because it was in the area for a short period of time and then left and has never returned, as mentioned by the witnesses. The kids were last seen getting into an SUV, so therefore, we believe this vehicle may be possibly involved," close quote, Ackley said. Deputies also say they're working with law enforcement in Florida to try and find the girl's biological family. Quote, "Their rights were terminated in the state of Florida. We are actively working with Michigan Intelligence Operations Center, Michigan State Police, and agencies in the Florida area to try and identify if the biological family is currently in the state of Florida," close quote, Ackley said. An Amber Alert has not been issued yet. Quote, most of the criteria is endangered, in harm's way, and at this time there is no indication that the children didn't get into the vehicle with a person that they may be familiar with and go on their own, close quote, Ackley said. The sheriff's office did say that neither girl had a cell phone to track their whereabouts. If you have any information on where these two girls are, please call the Roscommon County Sheriff's Office at 989-275-5101. The cases of these three missing teenagers, Keshaun Williams, 15 years old, out of Cuyahoga County, Ohio, and Tamara and Iris Perez, 15 and 13 respectively, out of Roscommon County, Michigan, kind of baffle me. These are teenagers who are old enough to be aware of their surroundings, aware of dangers, and yet still not mature enough to understand the nuances of being in danger. Keshaun got an Amber Alert right away, but right away means less than 24 hours after his mother reported him missing, 3 days after that house party. So Keshaun's ongoing Amber Alert wasn't posted for 4 days. In the case of Tamara and Iris Perez, they still don't have an Amber Alert. However, we did tease out one more little bit of information, and it is that they have ties to Winchester, Tennessee. Now, Winchester, Tennessee is not our familiar stomping grounds from the Summer Wells case. Summer Wells case is in the far northeast end of Tennessee, and Winchester is just south of Nashville on the southwest side of Tennessee, not all that far from Atlanta, Georgia. But before you hit Atlanta going south on 65, you would hit Chattanooga, and that is the hub where I-75 and I-65 meet up. From there, you could go down to Florida, a straight shot as far as how straight 75 is or isn't. There's probably actually a slang term for it, but as far as I can remember, and it's been decades since I've been on the Florida run, when I was a kid, it was the Florida run. Mostly because college kids from Michigan try and make an 18 to 20 hour trip in 15 or less, whether that's advisable or not. Now let's wrap this up with those that we have told you on the periphery of the Summer Wells case were arrested recently. Fred Hill was arrested on June 13th, 2023, and remains in custody. Laura White, his girlfriend, was arrested a couple of days later and was out on June 26, 2023. Dudley Ajan, the former co-worker of Donald Wesley Wells, bonded out on July 12, 2023. Benjamin Lindsay, as we all know him, Benny Keys, I reported to you that he had bonded out on June 23rd, 2023. However, it's being reported in a couple of dark corners on the internet that he's in hot water again and that there are additional arrest warrants out for him. However, I cannot find them. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just saying I can't find them. What I can tell you is that his court date is more than a month away, actually like 5 or 6 weeks away, for the charge he was facing on June 23rd, and we'll just have to wait until then to find out how that case shakes out. And that brings us to the Wells. It is alleged that they have a court date on August 18th, 2023. It's anybody's guess what that's in reference to, however. It's most likely a final disposition on the custody of the 3 boys, and it does not look good. The Wells have not completed their plan to regain custody as far as we can tell. They certainly have not done any rehab with regard to substance abuse, and that was one of the stipulations as far as we know. So in a couple weeks, 10 days, something like that, we are going to have another hearing, and will we know about what happened or not? I'm sure eventually the Wells will let it out one way or another. In the meantime, things apparently have gotten white hot between the two of them, and to be honest, I am surprised that it's taken this long for us to get to this time or this series of events. It is alleged that Candus Wells was injured by Don. She certainly is sporting a very prominent shiner. She claims that she herself left 110 Ben Hill Road, and it is alleged that she is in Georgia. It is alleged that Candy Harrer is in Georgia. So far, I've not seen any proof of any of that except the bruise on Candace's upper left cheek under her left eye. That's the only proof I've seen of anything. I've kept my mouth shut and tried to avoid all this drama for as long as possible. So let me make myself clear. I would not want to be treated the way Candus Wells has been treated during the time that her daughter has been missing. Therefore, since I wouldn't want to be treated in such a unkind and often cruel way, I will not treat her unkindly, and I will not be cruel. When there is evidence, then I'll discuss it further. As far as the people involved, I have nothing to say one way or another about any of them. Up on the screen, there has been a prominent reminder of who is important, who is the victim in this discussion about the Wells and the people who have been bonded out recently. Summer Wells is missing. She was 5 years old on June 15th, 2021, when she was last seen on her property, 110 Ben Hill Road, Rogersville, Tennessee, in the Beech Creek community. She was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl wearing a pink shirt and gray shorts or pants. It's never been made clear which one it was. And she was possibly barefoot. We do not know where the red truck is that Hawkins County Sheriff Department has been looking for. They don't even talk about it anymore. But there was a red truck with a ladder rack and white buckets in the bed spotted on either the day before or the day of June 15th, 2021 by a delivery or some other kind of regular route employee familiar to the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, and they seem to trust that that person's word is firm. We've never run down that truck. Nobody knows who was driving that truck, and apparently nobody in the Beech Creek community saw that truck. It's been 2 years, 1 month, and 27 days, or 787 days, since Summer Wells, now 7 years old, 7.5 years old, went missing. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. God bless you. I'll see you real soon.